In for review, we have the 2023 Genesis Electrified G80. Now, this is essentially a battery-powered version of the standard G80 luxury sedan, and it is an excellent option if you want an EV that's not an SUV. It's no secret sedans are hard to come by these days, and electric four-doors are even rarer, so I'm very glad that Genesis actually decided to build one. And this car right here is an excellent alternative to rivals like the BMW i4 and Tesla Model 3. Now, unless you really know what to look for, most people will never realize this is an EV. Only a few things set the electrified G80 apart from gas-powered models. These cars wear special 19-inch wheels. The rear bumper design is slightly different, mostly because there are no exhaust outlets, and the grille has been filled in for better aerodynamics. There's really not much to talk about on the outside, but what really sets the electrified G80 apart from its siblings is the drivetrain. And here we have an 87.2 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack mounted underneath the floor, and that provides an EPA estimated 282 miles of range. Now, that's a little short of the 300 I usually like to see, but it is pretty close. Now, I'll get to the horsepower and torque figures of this car in just a little bit, but trust me, there is plenty of both. Making up for that slight range shortcoming, this car charges like a raging bull. If you hook it to an appropriate DC fast charger, it can go from 10% to 80% in just 22 minutes, which is a phenomenal performance. Of course, if you're using a level 2 AC charger, it's going to take about 7 hours longer to do the same feat. And of course, as you can see here, the charging port door is beautifully hidden in the grille. I mean, you can't really even see it, though when you open it, it feels a little bit flimsy for a luxury car, and I really dislike that they've got these sort of rubber inserts to cover the ports. I would much prefer little doors that sort of clip closed. That all makes a lot of sense, but there's still one thing I don't understand, and it's the name. Why isn't this car called the Genesis G80 Electric? It's a simple enough question. Calling it electrified suggests it's a hybrid or something, and it's definitely not, and I think that could confuse a lot of people. Moving inside, the G80's cabin is simply gorgeous. The dashboard is elegant yet expressive, and the quality of everything is impossible to ignore. Now, no, this car is not going to beat a Rolls-Royce, but it's probably nicer than what you're getting from Acura, BMW, or Lexus these days. Burnishing its eco-friendly credentials, this Genesis has fabrics made from recycled PET plastics. The leather on the seats has been treated to natural dyes, and unlike this example, which has conventional wood trim, models that have the white interior feature a special wood that's actually made from birch scraps that are left over from the furniture making process, and it's kind of a unique looking material, like a luxury version of OSB. Up on the dashboard, we have a beautiful and very wide 14.5-inch screen, and the infotainment system that lives here is a joy to use because it is both quick and intuitive. Now, of course, you can control this system with the knob here on the center console. You do sometimes reach for the shifter, which is a little bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world. And of course, there's also a touch screen up here, though it is a bit of a reach. Naturally, the electrified G80 has a digital instrument cluster. This is a 12.3-inch panel, and it actually offers an interesting 3D view that works without glasses or anything. And when you're centered, there's definitely some depth to it, although it does look kind of gritty, and I don't really care for it. So this is one of those interesting features that I would normally just leave turned off. Overall, this interior is lovely, but unfortunately, these front bucket chairs are not. Yes, they're heated and ventilated. The driver's seat adjusts in 16 ways, and it will give me a massage, but the lower cushions are just too firm and too flat for my liking. What can I say? I've got a bony ass. Also, the driving position is just a little bit awkward. Because of the battery, the floor is elevated slightly, and I don't feel like I can put the seat down quite low enough where I would want it. Well, as you can see in the back seat, there's a decent amount of leg room for adult passengers, though headroom is a little bit scarce. If I sit up straight, my noggin does graze the ceiling. We have an armrest here that folds down nicely. Got a couple of cup holders. There's a button that controls the rear sunshade, and then underneath the armrest we have 2 USB ports so you can keep your phone fully juiced. So if you're not too tall, this is really a lovely place to spend time. The electrified G80's trunk is also fairly tight, clocking in at just 10.8 cubic feet. Additionally, there's a pronounced hump in the floor, which makes storing cargo just a little more awkward. There are 2 other things you should be aware of. 1, the rear backrests do not fold down to increase cargo capacity. This is the same as in gasoline-powered G80s, though there is at least a small pass-through in the center so you can carry longer cargo. And 2, this car has no front trunk, which is a bummer, though not surprising for a conventional vehicle converted to electric. Basically a one-and-done affair, the electrified G80 comes with loads of standard amenities. You get all LED exterior lighting, automatic high beams, a 14-speaker sound system, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, a wireless charging pad, highway driving assist, a super sharp 360-degree camera system, and a lot more. With 2 136 kilowatt electric motors on board, 1 at each end for standard all-wheel drive, the electrified G80 has 365 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. Now, that gives this car a big twist advantage over its gasoline-powered siblings. In fact, it has an extra 125 pounds of torque compared to the 3.5-liter turbocharged gasoline V6, and that is a lot of torque. Even though it has no boost mode like you get in the GV60, the electrified G80 here has enough pork and beans to deliver strong, if not quite bone-shattering acceleration. The automaker says this car can hit 60 miles per hour in just 4.9 seconds. Not too bad for a big sedan that weighs more than 5,000 pounds. This puppy is plenty quick in nearly all driving situations, though one thing I have noticed is that the accelerator response can be pretty lazy at times. What I mean is, when one-pedal driving is turned on and you're in the comfort mode, which is sort of the standard setting between eco and sport, the accelerator has this weird delay when you take off from a stop. It doesn't respond one-to-one with what your foot is doing, which makes the car feel super laggy. Now, the workaround is you either turn off iPedal or switch over to sport mode. That eliminates the problem, but it's still kind of odd that there's this delay when you're in comfort mode and you have one pedal turned on. In comfort mode, this electrified G80 delivers a magic carpet ride. It's smoother than creme fraiche thanks to a standard electronically controlled suspension system with road preview. So basically, there's a forward-facing camera that scans the surface ahead, and then it allows the dampers to adjust to deliver a ride that is absolutely buttery smooth. It is never lumpy like cottage cheese or harsh like a sharp cheddar. And I wonder, are there any other dairy references I could make here? Now, I probably shouldn't milk this metaphor. No way, Jose. I just said way. Like curds and whey, you know? Matching the gliding ride, this Genesis sedan's interior is also super quiet. Just listen to that. Or don't, because there's not much to hear. There's barely any wind or tire noise in here, even at highway speed, which is exactly what you want in a luxury car. Also, unlike other EVs, there's no option to play synthesized engine sounds through the speakers, and that is a-okay with me. I'm not a big fan of fake sounds. As I mentioned earlier, the electrified G80 comes standard with highway driving assist along with a whole bunch of other advanced features, and this is essentially a next-generation version of adaptive cruise control with lane centering. And this system automatically adjusts the vehicle's speed based on traffic conditions, and it will keep it locked in the center of its lane, so you don't have to do quite as much steering. Now, of course, this is not a hands-free solution like Super Cruise or Blue Cruise, though overall it does work extremely well, and it has a couple tricks up its sleeve. It will automatically change lanes when you signal on the highway, and it will scoot over in its lane as you're passing other vehicles like you would normally do if you were driving. Like basically every other vehicle Genesis offers right now, there is so much to love about the electrified G80, so let's recap this car's advantages and disadvantages before wrapping up this video. Starting things off, I love the Electrified G80's creamy smooth ride. This car's acceleration is plenty potent. The materials used inside are of excellent quality, plus the cabin's overall design looks great. And so does the exterior, for that matter. And finally, the technology offered in the Electrified G80 is tough to top. Of course, there are a few downsides, but they're minor in significance and few in number. The back seat could use some more headroom. The accelerator response should be sharper. The front buckets are too flat and too firm for my taste. And lastly, the Electrified G80 is only available at select retailers in a handful of states, specifically Arizona, California, Connecticut, Maryland, Massachusetts, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Utah, Virginia, and Washington. The 2023 Genesis Electrified G80 starts at just about $81,000, including $1,095 in destination fees. Aside from a few accessories like wheel locks or a first aid kit, the only extra cost options on this vehicle are premium paint colors. Several special hues are available, including Holosan Green like we have here. These paints go for $575 a pop, though a matte white is also offered for $1,500. This battery-powered G80 drives well, it charges quickly, and it is beautifully designed both inside and out. I don't think it's quite the smash home run hit that the GV60 utility vehicle is, but I've got to tell you, this is still an excellent all-electric luxury sedan. On behalf of everyone at EV Pulse, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, plus check out our EV Basics playlist. This series is designed for folks that are considering an electric vehicle, but they're not sure if it's right for their needs, so make sure you check that out.